What's up everyone, Soldier First Class here. In today's mission, we're going to talk about why Final Fantasy VII Remake will be a linear adventure. Now before you get out your torches and pitchforks, hear me out. The term linear has become a curse word in the Final Fantasy franchise and has been used to tear down games such as Final Fantasy X and XIII. However, linear's definition is somewhat skewed to create a critique that quite frankly all Final Fantasy games can be categorized into. Every mainline Final Fantasy game is linear but has non-linear elements. I think the reason 10 and 13 get so much heat from fans is because of the way they're structured. They make it more obvious that your adventure is on rails, but at the same time also feature non-linear segments. Instead of a traditional world map, both games take advantage of set pieces and rail-like locations. Every location is accessible by walking through each map stage and completing story content. Even the airship in 10 is on rails because you select your destination and are automatically taken there. It takes the exploration aspect that fans love and streamlined it into a menu-driven action. It's for this reason that fans use the word linear to critique these two entries. Speaking of world map, having one doesn't make any of the stories non-linear. Yes, you can go anywhere you want to go by traveling the world map, but you still have to follow a certain order and complete certain tasks to move forward in the main story. A world map does one thing: veil the linearity behind an appearance of open world and freedom. This gives the player a sense of being able to control what they want to do. While this is true to an extent, your progress on the game's map is still directly tied to completing story segments. In Final Fantasy VII, the most famous example of the world map, players can't just take off wherever they want without completing part of the story first. You'll need the buggy, the tiny bronco, the submarine, and the high wind before you can truly explore and take advantage of the entire world map. These vehicles are all locked behind story content, requiring you to complete the related story segment. Even though the game features a world map, you're still forced to follow the predetermined story path to progress. Open world doesn't necessarily mean non-linear either. As a great example of this, Final Fantasy XV is the first open world Final Fantasy game, but you guessed it, linear. Most of Final Fantasy XV's gameplay time is spent on side quests, collecting the different weapons, and exploring its beautiful world. However, even Final Fantasy XV has to follow a standard story progression, and a lot of the game is locked behind progression blockers. Parts of the map are inaccessible until parts of the story have been completed. This makes Final Fantasy XV no different than any other game in the series, even though it's considered an open world game. That being said, a world map is key to these games keeping their charm. Exploring the world of Final Fantasy VII has always been a favorite aspect for fans, and games that feature less of this tend to draw criticism. It's likely why Final Fantasy XIII is one of the black sheep of the franchise. Granted, Final Fantasy X and XIII open up towards the end of the game, but it's still less explorable than, say, Final Fantasy VII. So what does all this mean for the Final Fantasy VII Remake? Even if Midgar is explorable, and similar to a sandbox game like Grand Theft Auto V, it's still going to be linear. In the next installment, if it features an open world or world map, you're still going to be forced into story content to progress. Regardless of how many side quests there are in each installment, you won't be able to do everything in the game without completing story segments to unlock them. This makes Final Fantasy VII Remake linear, but not in a bad way. Overall, all story-driven games feature linearity, but it's about how it's presented. World maps help disguise this aspect, but they don't eliminate it. Every Final Fantasy game is linear, but some don't hide it as well as others. So I ask the question, soldiers, has your perception of linearity in the franchise changed at all? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to omni-slash that like button. Let me know in the comments section below if you're excited for the Final Fantasy VII Remake, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell to join the ranks of Soldier today. And for all the latest Final Fantasy VII Remake news, rumors, and trailers, I'm Soldier First Class, and I'm on to the next mission. Later, guys.